Hi, geologists. Well, we are moving on now to the three major types of sedimentary rock. So we can go ahead and open our books. You can go ahead and get started. We're going to be on page 110. So what are the three major types of sedimentary rocks? Geologists classify sedimentary rocks according to the type of sediments that make up the rock. The three major groups of sedimentary rocks are clastic rocks, organic rocks, and chemical rocks. Different processes form each of these types of rocks. So, sorry, I've got a cold. Anyway, we are going to talk about clastic and organic and chemical rocks in their own little sections. So the first one here is going to be clastic rocks. So I'm going to put that in my notes just so I remember. Alright, classic rocks. Most sedimentary rocks are made up of broken pieces of other rocks. A clastic rock is a sedimentary rock formed when rock fragments are squeezed together. Alright, so it's a sedimentary rock formed when, rock fragments are squeezed together. Rock fragments are squeezed. Alright, let's keep reading. The fragments can range in size from clay particles that are too small to be seen without a microscope to large heavy boulders. Classic rocks are grouped by the size of rock fragments or particles of which they are made. So I think that's important that we put too. So, the little side note here is that classic rocks are grouped by the size of the rock fragments. Classic rocks are grouped together by the size of the rock fragments or particles of which they are made. That's important to kind of remember, that they're grouped together by the size of the particles. Some common clastic rocks shown in figure 2 are shale, sandstone, conglomerate, and breccia. So, examples are sandstone, shale, conglomerate, and breccia. Alright. Shale forms from tiny particles of clay. Water deposits the clay particles in thin, flat layers. Sandstone forms from the sand on beaches, the ocean floor, riverbeds, and sand dunes. Most sand particles consist of quartz, and we know quartz is a mineral. Some clastic sedimentary rocks contain rock fragments that are different sizes. If the fragments have rounded edges, they form conglomerate. Fragments with sharp edges form breccia. So, we have down here, these are our common examples. So we have shale, which some people have, like, my house used to have a shale roof. Or slate, sorry, that's slate, not shale. Just kidding. I lied. Sandstone. Sandstone is banded. You can kind of see it has the layers to it. Then there's conglomerate, which has the rounded particles, and then breccia, which has jagged edges. I'm going to make sure I'm saying that right. Hold on. If I can spell it, maybe. When in doubt, Google Translate. Breccia. See, learn something new every day. Alright, I spelled right here. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Organic rocks. You may be familiar with the rocks called coal and limestone shown in Figure 3. Both are sedimentary rocks, but instead of forming from particles of other rocks, they form from the remains of material that was once living. Organic rock forms when the remains of plants and animals are deposited in layers. So let's put that down. So the next one is organic rock. And the book told us that they are forms when the remains of plants and animals are deposited in layers. The term organic refers to substances that were once part of living things or made by living things. So, if you guys remember, we said that minerals had to be formed by an inorganic process, at least in some way. And so that's why coal and limestone couldn't be minerals, because they're formed organically. They're formed from the remains of plants and animals. So I'm going to put example. Oops. Oh, wait. There we go. Examples was coal and limestone. Let's keep reading. Coal forms from the remains of swamp plants buried in water. As layer upon layer of plant remains build up, the weight of the layer squeezes the decaying plants together. Over millions of years, they slowly change into coal. Limestone forms in the ocean, where many living things, such as coral, clams, and oysters, have hard shells or skeletons made up of calcite. When these ocean animals die, their shells pile up on the ocean floor. Over millions of years, compaction and cementation can change the thick sediment into limestone. So then down here, it shows you a picture. Here's a picture of coal, and then limestone. And what's cool about limestone is that if you look at it, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. But this limestone here, you can see it's got the remains. So like you see the clam shells here. And it looks like it's made from other animals, other skeletons of different things. And so you can definitely see that in the limestone. And so that's kind of cool. Right, last one. Chemical rocks. Limestone can also form when calcite that is dissolved in lakes, seas, or underground water comes out of the solution and forms crystals. This kind of limestone is considered a chemical rock. Chemical rock forms when minerals dissolved in a water solution crystallize. Alright, so then the last type is chemical rocks. And the book said that chemical rocks forms when minerals dissolved in water solution. Forms when minerals dissolved in water solutions crystallize. And you'll remember from our talk about minerals that when something crystallizes, it's when its atoms that make it up form into this regular repeating pattern. It becomes a crystalline solid, basically. And so in chemical rocks, what happens is when a chemical rock forms when the minerals that are in that minerals in the water solution crystallize, and then they form these chemical rocks. Chemical rocks can also form from mineral deposits that are left when seas and oceans evaporate. So I'm going to add that too. Can also form when form from, and then I forgot what the rest of it was. From mineral deposits that are left, when seas and lakes evaporate. Seas or lakes evaporate. just additional information. For example, rock salt is made from the mineral halite, which forms by evaporation. So, an examples, some forms of limestone, rock salt. And you'll remember, you guys have seen the rock salt, the mineral salt. You saw that in that Bill 9 video. What he had the water running over is mineral salt or rock salt. So, we review. We had clastic rocks, which forms from rock fragments when they're squeezed together. Organic rocks, which forms from the plants and animals, or the remains of those that are squeezed together. And then chemical rocks that form when minerals dissolve in water solutions. Or when minerals dissolved in water solutions crystallize. Or when they are left behind after it evaporates. Alright? Good luck on your next lab, guys.